Oh, my bad.
Christianity. It is here at the conference of Ephesus in 431 AD that Aset was de-Africanized. Here she was de-Africanized because Aset was called Murray. She was a goddess also associated with love, just like Heteru. So they took from the concept Murray that you see on many of the columns like we saw over there, and I showed you Murray. What does Murray look like in the middle letter? Tell me.
Side A.
An A with two feathers, Murray. And they associated that with Mary. And this is where they de-Africanized the goddess of Set at the conference of Ephesus. When we study these conferences, we can clearly see how they took and de-Africanized African Kemetic spirituality. It was the conference of Chalcedon. This is where they took the term Sarah and associated with the Serapis Jesus as the Son of God. And that's the reason why, when it comes to these ecumenical conferences and other historical things associated with Christianity, they don't speak of these things from the pulpit. Because if you were to speak of these things, then you would start to do research and see its origin of where it came from.
Stop that right there, because that last part, my starting with me, talking to myself, everybody, it's imperative that we do our research. It's imperative that we do our research, because doing our own research and doing research as a collective, it's going to give us the informational foundation that we need. It's going to give us the breadcrumbs and things that we need to put all the pieces of the puzzle together. I'm going to keep saying it. I believe each master teacher, each historian, each scholar, each lecturer was giving a puzzle piece. And how can we fit these puzzle pieces together for the grand plan, the grand thing that we need to fix our own situation, to get to self-actualization? But it's the de-Africanization of African spirituality, the de-Africanization of Black people in America. See where I'm going now? It's a pattern. These are patterns by those who conquer people. I once again, I need to strip you of everything African, especially your spirituality. I need to strip you of your African spirituality, and then I'm going to give you this spiritual system. I'm going to give you this religion. I'm going to give you this. This is what I need to give you. Now, what have we done with the religion that they have given us? What's our overall outcome? Have we been able to reach our overall goals as a people? Hell, do we even have goals as a people? You know what I'm saying? But, well, go ahead. You're about to say something.
No, go ahead. I'm disagreeing.
I mean, because I, in my opinion, we don't have goals as a people. So what they gave us ain't really helping us as far as to get to the point of self-actualization. Now, I don't think that means that when you have any religion that you choose to use, I don't think that means that because you're in this, you can't get to your goal. You have to Africanize it. How can you use this to get to your end goal? We're not here to argue back and forth, even talk about whichever path you choose to take. That's on you. How are you using that as a Black person in America? How are we using the things that we believe in, the spiritual systems, the religions? How are we using these to get to an end goal that's the best situation for us as Black people here in America? How are we doing that?
Yeah, and see, one of the things I will point out is culture is something that usually happens gradually over time without conscious thought or effort. You know, the mechanisms that you use to survive become things that define you as a people and as an individual. They become your worldview, your outlook, you know, how you see things. Black people are in a situation now where we have to take conscious control of the shaping of our culture. And it's something that very few people throughout history have had to do.
Right.
And that's
but you have to do it.
Right.
But you have to do it.
We have to take that step. And what that means is a lot of the things that other people take for granted or that just happen. Like, we all know there are a lot of white people that are what I like to call subconsciously racist. Right? They racist, but they don't even really know they racist.
And you want to know why?
So what I'm saying is,
Culture.
black people,
Culture.
we can't continue to
Culture.
allow ourselves to be shaped in this environment. So what that means is, we go back to Christianity, right? Most black people are Christians in America. When you go back to the days of in the Bible, when you're talking about Jesus, the times when he was preaching, and even the times before that, the pastors, Jesus wasn't the only person that knew the scriptures.
Yeah.
The entire congregation knew the scripture, and they had to know the scripture so that they could identify false prophets. They tested people that came into the church with messages. They tested their knowledge of the scripture, and this protected them from being invaded by foreign people that didn't have their best interest at heart, and it also kept them from being easily led.
So you mean tell me, in regular people terms, that people did their research and knew what they were talking about and knew what other people were talking about and didn't just take what people said on face value?
Absolutely.
Oh
You've got to
no.
be conversational, at least. We're not saying you got to be full on English teacher, professor English 10. We're not saying you got to be there with it, but you need to be able to have a general conversation so that clear and obvious BS is clear and obvious to you.
Yeah. But
And we
not
got to get there.
but that's real though, because that bleeds into every aspect of your life, because we see it all the time. Social media is exposing a lot. We see it all the time, and critical thinking is very rare today, especially within our community. Critical thinking is very rare, and people take a lot of things at face value, especially if it comes from their favorite medium or their favorite platform. I have conversations with people all the time, and they really just go off what the TV, the radio, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, whoever, even us, do not believe what we saying. Go do
Yeah.
your research. Don't
Do
believe
your
nothing we
research.
saying. Don't believe nothing we saying. Go do your research.
Because even in my working with kids and adults, I've frequently been taught new information by the people that I was supposed to be teaching. Like,
But
that's
that
not an uncommon occurrence
but
for
that
me.
means you teaching, because as a teacher, you're still a student.
Right, right. So the other part is the rub here, right? To kind of go, add on to what you were saying. If I take a group of people and make them more like me and less like the people I separated them from, that goes into the propaganda conversation we were having last week
Mm-hmm.
again.
Mm-hmm.
Now I have less concerns about these two people getting together, especially if they actively dislike each other.
Yeah.
And I get all of the benefits that come with that culture group being on my side and defending me from other people who look and behave like them. It prevents unity. It prevents any real threat from occurring. It allows me to maintain control of the situation. Anybody that knows group psychology understands how this plays out when you create in groups and out groups. So there's that goes into the other component that you were talking about earlier about being able to control or conquer people, creating a system where I don't even have to consciously exercise that control because it's
You
built
will.
into the system.
Right. Right. I mean, but even, going back to the point of the imagery that goes into the recreation of what they did at Nicaea and all these conferences. And now it rolls down to us today, because you go in any black church and it's still a white Jesus up there. And that affects people's self-esteem, self-concept, self-ideal, self-imagery. That affects how you view yourself. That affects how you view your group. That affects everything. Because if you view that as the literal image of God, when you look in the mirror, you won't see God within yourself, and you got God all through you.
Right. And here's the last thing I'm gonna say about this, right? Because it goes on, what you just said made me think about it. I watch battle rap, right? and not just battle rap, even Kanye had this thing with the Jesus Walks piece, right? But I'm going to battle rap because in battle rap is really a black space, you know, a hood black space. That's the image they try to project, because it came from the hood. So in that space where everybody is familiar with and applauds and loves bars about how the black man is God and black man this and black people are this and that, and you have a lot of battle rappers talking that conscious stuff in their bars about killing each other. But what's interesting is when one of the battle rappers made a reference to Jesus and decided to have a Jesus character come up and spit some of his bars during the middle of a battle, guess what the Jesus character looked like? In a sea full of black people, he had a white dude come out with a wig
I saw that.
on.
I did see that.
And a robe and spit these bars.
Right.
And of course, the rebuttal to that was a black dude saying something about the black man is God. But it doesn't change the fact that when the white dude came out and started spitting,
everybody went crazy.
Crowd full of black people lost their minds. They went nuts.
Instead of being silent like this mob, they went crazy because this stuck. It's imprinted into our subconscious mind. Oh yeah, we cooking.
Then you would start to do research and see its origin of where it came from. But unfortunately, this is the time that we got caught into bringing into the European white idolatry. Unfortunately, this is the time when that image became the deity and the spiritual subconscious of our minds. As I say, how the enemy became the deity. They produced that image on the world and brainwashed through the dogma of the religion that was real. And to this day, people think that whole concept of the Jesus thing is real. Now, were there men fighting the Romans? Yes, they were. And they deified them. Okay, that means that their ka, their spirit, they put it on the line. They knew that they were going to die. Okay, so translating that ka to the day would be the what? The ka, it becomes the what? The ka becomes the Christ. Okay? Because we're talking about spirit. The Romans didn't understand spiritual things. They took the physical body literally. So as I said, why would they take the Serapis Jesus in the pictorial art and wrap him up as a mummy? If you're going to go to heaven, just get on up and go.
But I want to stop it right there. Not because it was funny how you said that.
Yeah, it was funny how you said
it. I love it though. I love it. But the Romans, he's talking about the Romans not understanding, not having a full understanding of the Egyptian spiritual system. So they put their own spin on it. And when they put their own spin on it, they further bastardize it. Because they was going to do that anyway, but because they lack full understanding of it, it got whitewashed even further. But just think how whitewashed this information is passed down to now in 2022. And we're talking about it being whitewashed in the early between the first and the 7th century, like between these early times and now in 2022, imagining how much the information is watered down and whitewashed. Because we talking about these councils, we're not talking about things that may have happened even before the councils, but we know we hitting on these councils because these councils were significant. So the information was whitewashed at these councils, and it's been whitewashed plenty of times since then. So on one hand, it's critically looking at the information that we have, critically looking at the information that you're going to call your spiritual system or your religion, especially if it's going to be specifically Christianity, really looking at it. Now, I don't think that you should throw it away. I don't. That's just me. I know a lot of people say throw it away. I don't think you could throw it away, or you need to throw it away, because just being real, we're talking about where we are here and now. It's so ingrained in Black American culture I don't really believe we're gonna really be able to throw it away. I don't. Black people are not going to give it up, and it's going to continue to be passed down. But how can we, I guess, refertilize the information? How can we re-Africanize the information to once again be able to use it to meet a said end goal or desired end goal, which is the self-actualization, Black people becoming an actual nation within a nation and being able to do what we need to do. But how we view ourselves and how we view those that conquered us really impacts us building ourselves up as a nation, because we always talk about, well, why can't we unite? Why can't we do this? Why can't we do that? One of my opinions is because we feel like the people who can best take care of us are taking care of us. That's what, in my opinion, I think that's what a lot of us feel like. White people can take better care of Black people than Black people. And that ain't true, because we got millions and millions and millions of history to prove that. But once again, how does that translate to us now? How can we use this information to help us now? How can we get over this mental hump? Understanding some of the things that have happened to us, understanding the spiritual impacts as well. If you don't take care and address the spiritual impacts that happen to us, we won't be able to get over that hump to self-actualization, what we really need, in my opinion.
No, I agree with you. I think we don't. First off, I agree with you 100%. Getting rid of Christianity is not realistic. And in every solution that we present, we got to ask ourselves, first and foremost, is this realistic? Can this realistically be done?
Right.
And Christianity is something like Dr. Clark has said, and there have been plenty of other scholars that have said this, Dr. Williamson, Dr. Ben, you go down the list, that have said a lot of the things in Christianity came from African religious stories. It feels right because they took just enough to make it feel right. So it's not ever going to change. It's rooted in something that came from us. You know, and here we're talking about African people all over the diaspora.
Right, right.
It's rooted in something that feels native and real to us, no matter what culture we've turned into now. Let's not forget, Ethiopia was the first
Coptic
Christian nation.
Right. So it's something, and it, I'm glad you said that, because it's something in it. And that's why, going back to, I don't think we should throw it away. Now, the Ethiopian or the Coptic version of Christianity is different from the version here in America.
Right.
And there are different versions of it.
There are a lot of different versions.
Right. So we're understanding how we use the version, or how we interact or exist within the version that we have. But let's once again go back to our research and look at other versions of it, and look at it don't look at it from a mindset of, is yours better than mine or mine's better than yours? We're just looking for the information. We're just seeing how it's set up, how it's structured, how it impacts people. What is the imagery? Because I know some of the things that I've seen from the Egyptian Bible, the deities and the people in it look like the people, look like the Egyptians. I mean, look like the Ethiopians, excuse me. They look like them.
I think one of the things, going back to it though, is you can use the fluidity of Christianity to our advantage. Because when you really sit down and read the Bible is a book full of revolution.
Yeah,
problem is most people ain't reading it.
Look, Nat Turner read the Bible, and after reading the complete Bible for himself, he believed that God was telling him to revolt against his slave masters.
Yeah, I mean, people like to talk about it as a joke, but when Jesus got mad at what those people were doing in the temple, he lashed out and started beating people with whips. When he saw that something wasn't right, he took action. Like, there's a lot of different components in the Bible like that, where when something isn't right, somebody in the Bible is compelled to fix it, not go with the flow, not blah, blah, blah. They're compelled to fix it. Yeah. So I agree with what you said. We have to ask ourselves, is the version that we're subscribed to or ascribing to most beneficial for us as a culture group? And if there isn't one, then we need to create one. But the idea that we're going to throw Christianity away, that's wasted energy.
It is. So let me say this so we can be clear. So there are no misconceptions or nothing.
I ain't gonna be there anyways.
Yeah. We're not asking anybody to leave the religion or join the religion. We're not asking anybody to do either. If you don't want to be one, don't be one. If you want to be one, be one. But whatever path you are taking, how can we as a collective be able to use the information? Because I also don't think that just because you follow this path that you shouldn't study the other paths, even know about the other paths, or be familiar with the information and seeing just the similarities and how the information can be used, but also so you can better understand the people that you're going to be uniting with. Because the brand of spiritual systems and religions that we exist in today still causes us, or still can be in aiding in us fighting against each other, because this person believed this and this person believed this, and mine is better than yours and yours is better than mine, and everybody's fighting with each other. No matter the religious or spiritual path, everybody's fighting, and we're still further losing what our enemy is like. Well, it's working. It's working. What we gave them is working.
But that goes back to what you said earlier about unity. You know what I'm saying? And I personally think we don't have unity because we don't know what unity means. When people say unity, they oftentimes mean uniformity. They want uniform. They want everybody saying, moving, and doing the exact same thing.
But you're not gonna get uniformity without unity.
Right. But see, the thing is, uniformity is a pipe dream. That's never gonna happen. Ever. Not unless we all get chips in our head and become part of some hive mind. Unity simply requires a bunch of people to be moving with the generally the same goal in mind. We don't have to agree exactly on how that's going to work out. We just got to have a similar vision and be tolerant of the differences. Joe and I are a good example of that. We don't agree on everything. Matter of fact, Joe is what I would consider at this point a conservative. I'm not. But we still talk politics. We still talk everything that we talk without getting into a pissing match or argument. And that's me with most of my friends, most of the people that I associate with. We do see it in certain spaces where you can see people who have a difference of opinion, but in having a difference of opinion and choosing not to engage in the subject is totally different from having a different opinion and still being able and willing to engage in the subject that you have a difference of opinion on, knowing that there's progress to be made there. Two different things. I think in mass, we don't see enough of that because everybody gets in their own silos, and then you hear something you don't like, you trigger. Now you throwing shots, you taking stabs, you insulting, you trying to just demolish the entire conversation. That ain't gonna get it. That's immaturity at its finest.